It's been an eventful week here in Indiana and a busy week at UUI. Wednesday, Federal Judge Richard Young of the U.S. District Court in Southern Indiana made his historic ruling that Indiana's law defining marriage as between one man and one woman exclusively was unconstitutional. In his decision, he quoted earlier decisions which said, "The history of our Constitution is the story of the extension of constitutional rights and protections to people once excluded." He compared the question of same-sex marriage to the history of interracial marriage. And he found that Indiana's law violates the 14th Amendment, which protects citizens from having their fundamental liberties violated by the state. After going through pages and pages of very close legal reasoning, he closes with this stirring paragraph, which I will read in full. He wrote, "This court has never witnessed a phenomenon throughout the federal court system as is presented with this issue. In less than a year, every federal district court to consider the issue has reached the same conclusion in thoughtful and thorough opinions. Laws prohibiting the celebration and recognition of same-sex marriages are unconstitutional. It is clear that the fundamental right to marry shall not be deprived to some individuals based solely on the person they choose to love. In time," he wrote, "America will look at the marriage of couples such as the plaintiffs and refer to it simply as a marriage, not a same-sex marriage. These couples, when gender and orientation are taken away, are in all respects like the family down the street. The Constitution demands that we treat them as such. Today, the injustice that we had not earlier known or understood ends." So, here at UUI, we got the news of this decision about the same time as everyone else. As a breaking story on the radio, or Twitter, or Facebook, or the Indy Star. And to be honest, it caught us a little bit with our pants down. I wasn't even aware that there was a ruling coming that day. But we swung into action, and by 7 p.m., this sanctuary was open with the Reverend Kirby Avadovich of the United Church of Christ here and ready to perform weddings. And we had UUI members as witnesses and a photographer. A woman from the neighborhood, Kathy, stopped in graciously, played the violin. And we had balloons and flowers and cupcakes and everything that you need. Now, we didn't have any takers Wednesday night, and I think most of the action was taking place at the courthouse, which must have had quite the party atmosphere. The Marion County Clerk's Office issued 250 marriage licenses on Wednesday, stayed open until 11 p.m. and performed 186 same-sex marriages. All told, they issued more than 500 marriage licenses in 3 days. So we opened again Thursday morning from 11:30 to 3:30, and people brought candles and flowers and tiaras and similar essential things. And again, we had people waiting to be witnesses in case someone dropped in. And we had 2 ministers on call and 1 minister willing to travel to UUI. In all, we had over 30 people volunteer or offer to volunteer. We were listed in the Indianapolis Star as one of 5 churches in Indianapolis performing same-sex marriages, one of the others being All Souls UU Church. And we didn't have any takers Thursday afternoon either. But we were living out our values as Unitarian Universalists in a very public way, which is a good thing. And we were getting the word out about what we were willing and ready to do. Now at this point, Suzanne had formed a wedding rapid response team of volunteers. So with our rapid response team in place, we moved from being to sort of open continuously to being available by appointment. And Friday afternoon, we received a request to be married at UUI by a lovely young couple who happened to be traveling through Indianapolis. They had their marriage certificate, but they could not be married in their county, so they wanted to be married here. And our team swung into action. Reverend Kirby agreed to be here at UUI at a moment's notice. Our neighborhood guest stopped by and provided violin music. We had a photographer, flowers, bubbles, sparklers. It was a lovely ceremony. It was performed just in time as news broke of the stay that was granted shortly after the marriage. possible without the many, many volunteers from both UUI and the neighboring community who are able and willing to give of themselves on next to no notice. The last 5 days have really exemplified the spirit of this religious community, and I am proud and grateful to be a part of it, and I hope you all are too. But then, Friday evening, came the news of the appeal filed by our Attorney General, and that the higher court had issued a stay, meaning that no more licenses can be issued until the appeal is resolved. It means the legal status of the marriages already granted is in question. And so now we move on to the next part of what we are called to do, which is to be a voice for liberal religion, to be a voice in the community advocating for marriage equality as part of our commitment to promoting the inherent worth and dignity of all people. And as an institution that provides supportive care, that exists to comfort the afflicted, as we say, we have a role to play. Many people in the community are doubtless hurting, frustrated, angry, uncomprehending. Many of us here are feeling those same emotions. I know on Wednesday when the news broke of the judge's decision, the joy that I felt, I was taken aback by how much joy I felt at that decision. And for a minute I almost felt like I was living in a different state, in the place I'm supposed to be living. I love Indiana, but now I was living in the Indiana that was meant to be. And when the stay came, it hurt, and it was frustrating and incomprehensible. So I know many people are struggling with that. And many same-sex couples who were married this week now have to deal with the stress and uncertainty of legal limbo as the status of their marriage is sorted out. So it's important that we be here for one another, that we support and encourage one another, listen to one another, provide a shoulder to cry on when it's needed, and that we be here for whoever might walk through our doors, because people are hurting in the community and this is a place for healing. But it's also important that we honor and celebrate that joy that we felt on Wednesday, that we hold it up, because joy is fuel. Joy is rocket fuel, and we need that rocket fuel. So this morning, we're going to go ahead and celebrate all the happy weddings that happened this week. Weddings too long delayed, marriages that demanded to be acknowledged as legal and beautiful and worthy. And then we're going to use that positive energy to make our voices heard during this period of the stay. We're going to be a voice supporting, standing on the side of love, and demanding equality and justice. So after the close of the service today, out in the social hall, there's cake, there's punch, there's finger foods, there's veggies and grapes. So please stay and enjoy food and fellowship. But then also, on 4 tables, there's 4 banners. And the banners read, "We support marriage equality," UUI is standing on the side of love, and congratulations to all newlywed Hoosiers. And we're going to color in those banners, and then we're going to hang them facing 43rd Street and 42nd Street as an act of public witness, letting everyone in the community know where we stand and that we are supporting people. So right now, the 2014 Unitarian Universalist General Assembly is wrapping up in Providence, Rhode Island. As I said, it's been a busy week. Some 4,500 UUs have gathered there over the course of 5 days to worship and celebrate and do public witness and grow deeper in our understanding of what it means to be Unitarian Universalist and to practice Unitarian Universalism. Over the next few weeks, you'll be able to watch a lot of that on video as it goes up at UUA.org, and I invite you to do that. 3 members of UUI are there right now as delegates. Holly, our board president, Carolyn Murphy, also on the board, and Jay Harvey, who's a member of our worship team, and an usher, and a cello circle leader, and like a million other things also. The theme of GA this year is Love Reaches Out. And the emphasis has been on living out our principles by reaching out to the outside community in support and service. It's been about speaking up and showing up. And I'm proud to say this week that everything that's being talked about and preached about 900 miles away in Providence, we're living and doing right here at home. Would you please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn number 1014, Standing on the Side of Love, in your T.O. hymn.